Timothée Chalamet is an athlete who is trapped in an actor's body, and he's basically telling us as such. And because of some comments he made while promoting his new movie Marty Supreme, some people are upset.
This is probably my best performance, and that it's been like 7-8 years that I feel like I've been handing in really, really committed, top-of-the-line performances.
That's it. That's all he said. And I agree with him. I think he's been one of our better performers for the last decade or so. And that's what people are upset about, that he was willing to say it. And that's what you're not allowed to say as an actor, as a creative. You can't say that I'm proud of the work I do, that I think I'm good at what I do. But he did. And the thing is, this is the thing that a lot of people love about athletes. Their confidence, their cockiness, maybe even their arrogance, but ultimately their self-belief.
I'm the best corner in the game.
Lions, they don't compare themselves with humans.
But I'm the best player in the world.
I feel confident because I'm the best player in the world.
Should be number one on the top 100.
Well, if you look at the tape,
Me? Job finished? I don't think so.
I'm really in pursuit of greatness.
When it's a Tuesday evening and you slump down on your couch after a long day at work and you just want to get away from the world, maybe watch something, a sporting event, a television show, a movie. We don't want to watch people who don't take pride in what they're doing. If you're a basketball fan, what is more interesting to you, watching Alex Caruso throw his body away to save one loose ball or watching the Washington Wizards? If you go onto Netflix to watch a movie, what's more interesting to you, watching Ryan Reynolds play the same exact character for the 37th movie in a row? Or watching Timothée Chalamet pour his heart out, put his soul into a character like he does in a movie like Beautiful Boy? And we as an audience know that in the totally subjective form that is acting, we know that what he's doing is more interesting and, quote, better than what other people are doing, but he is supposed to pretend like it's not? I don't think it should be that way. I actually think there's an argument that it is actually good for the sport of acting that people are competitive, that they push each other to be a little bit better. And that ultimately, whatever vocation we might have in life, whatever calling we think we have, that we do that with pride, that we do something, we do work that we can all be proud of. Whether you're like one of my cousins who's a middle school math teacher, or you are a garbage collector, or yes, you are an A-list actor. Do it with pride, and if you think you're doing a great job, it's okay to say so. I would even encourage it. And the main criticism I've seen with Chalamet's comments here are, imagine if a woman said this, imagine if a person of color said this. And my thought is, well, why don't they? Why don't we allow them to do so? If Emma Stone said these comments, I would encourage it. If Viola Davis came out tomorrow and said, I think I'm one of the greatest performers of the last 40 years, I would love it. I would encourage it. Because number one, a statement like that would be true. And number two, I think it actually helps push the art form forward. It shows that people care. And you can debate the merits of Chalamet's arguments. You can say that he's not put in top of the shelf performances over the last decade. That's really up to you. Maybe he's gotten out over his skis a little, but I think the fact that he's willing to say that only helps everybody. Because maybe it gets one more person, one more actor, a little bit more fired up to go to work tomorrow and do a better performance that we can all enjoy and consume at home. So we can see a performance that we still talk about decades later and say, wow, they put everything they had into this on screen. Athletes do it all the time, and we celebrate it. They push each other forward. They move the art form of basketball, of football. They move it forward. And I know that basketball and acting are different, whereas the sole goal of playing in the NBA is to win an NBA title, ostensibly. You can ask some owners about that. Whereas the sole goal of acting, what is that? That's basically impossible to define. But if you narrow the scope slightly and say an NBA title is akin to a Best Actor win. If the OKC Thunder had a really good season and made the playoffs and said, well, I'm just happy to be here.
At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
That would be like an actor putting in a really good performance, getting nominated for an Academy Award and saying, well, I'm just glad to be here. You're glad to be there, but you want to win. I think most actors privately would agree to that. And I think the issue that people are taking with Chalamet's comments is that he was willing to say it publicly. Because the Thunder could have made the playoffs and just said, well, we had a great season and the body of work speaks for ourselves. We don't need a championship to cap it all off to make it mean something. The same way as Chalamet could have had a great season, a great performance, and said, well, it's okay, I know the work speaks for itself. We all know that the Thunder did a really good job last year. We all know that Chalamet did a really good job as Bob Dylan, even if he didn't win the Oscar. But still, shouldn't it mean something to win it all? Many in the creative industry would say no. I don't know, why not? You did great work. You are deserving of recognition. Why is that controversial? And you see this mentality in athletes. When athletes get snubbed from the All-Star game, when athletes don't make the Pro Bowl, when they're snubbed from all NBA team, they think they are deserving. They know the time, they know the effort, they know the blood, sweat, and tears that they put into that season, and they don't get the awards. And they care. Trae Young knows he played great. He still wants to be on the All-Star team. Deep in his heart, Jaylen Brown knows that he is one of the best men's American basketball players on the planet. Does that mean it still doesn't hurt when he doesn't make the Olympic team? And this is where I see the athlete's mentality in Chalamet. He knows he does great work. Other people knows he does great work. He still wants to be recognized. And this makes people upset. They say it's uncouth. They say it's unbecoming of him to say these things out loud. I don't think so. I don't care. I genuinely think that if you ask Timothée Chalamet if he would rather play in the NBA or be a working actor, he would rather play basketball. This is a guy who would spend his free time as a youth chasing down Amari Stoudemire for autographs. Through a social media scavenger hunt, Timothée Chalamet would spend his free time chasing down Knicks role players for tickets. We have evidence of this. Fun fact, this photo that has gone viral everywhere, I was actually the one who uncovered that. That's a whole separate story. But yeah, this photo, like 15 years old, he was a little kid. He was just running around the city because he loved basketball. He's a competitive guy who wants to win and be the best at what he does. I don't think that makes him a villain. I think this is a mentality a lot of us should have in our daily lives. I find it immensely refreshing to see someone publicly acknowledge how much they care about the work they do, especially in an industry where this is historically not the case. And when we talk about the sports world over the last couple of years, I think the people that we are lashing onto the most are the people who show how much they care. I think about this one clip of JJ Redick, who basically was like, I don't get any sleep. All I think about is coaching the Lakers.
I pretty much haven't slept since we walked off the court in Portland.
And that is just so awesome to see. A guy who doesn't have to be doing the job he's doing. He's made millions of dollars. He was great on television. He could just wake up, do a TV spot, go home, cash in. He could live off the money he's made for the rest of his life. He loves basketball. He wants to win. And then I contrast that with a lot of people's least favorite athlete right now, Jalen Hurts, the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts is notorious for what I am going to call the nonchalant gimmick. Basically, if the Eagles win the Super Bowl by 40 points, or he throws 4 interceptions and has 2 turnovers on the same play, he will have the same reaction. There's little emotion shown by him, win or lose. And this is the sort of thing when the team is winning, people are like, this is so cool. He's so nonchalant. He's got so much aura. But when you start losing and you start playing bad and you're doing this same thing, people don't want to see it. And it was Uncle Ben who said, with great power comes great responsibility. And that's what we want to see from high-profile people, that you don't phone it in and do the same thing every time and take it for granted because you recognize you are in a uniquely rare position that millions of people would love to be in, and you take that seriously. And Chalamet does with the roles he chooses. You see him oscillate between supporting parts, between character studies, between family-friendly blockbusters. He's done it all, and he's made every kind of movie. And he creates this sense of scarcity that when he does choose a role, maybe one movie a year, he's going to commit and throw himself at that role. He could go the other way as an immensely in-demand young actor whose star is at its brightest. He could do 4 movies a year that all suck, like some people in his age range. He trains like an athlete in the off-season for each role, sometimes quite literally, practicing ping pong for years. in downtime of other projects so he can be a better ping pong player. Maybe he practices guitar for multiple years, sings for multiple years, learns the harmonica so he can be a better Bob Dylan. He doesn't have to do that. He would be number one on the call sheet regardless, but he is number one on the call sheet because of what he does to prepare. There's a ton of athletes who are identified as immensely talented next up when they are young and they make it to the big leagues and they fizzle out because they don't put in the work to stay there and to level up. I'm not saying Chalamet is the greatest actor of all time. I'm not saying you have to understand all his performances or like them. I don't love all of them either. But you have to recognize the commitment to the craft, and because he takes it seriously, he is proud of himself, and I think that's more than okay. So why are people upset about that? Because deep in our hearts, whether it's schoolwork, whether it's real work, whether it's work around the house, we know when we phone it in, we know when we give it our all. So if you're doing great work in whatever field, I want to hear it from you. I think we'd all be better off if we said it out loud when we did a great job. And we need to continue to foster an environment and a world where it is socially acceptable to do so, where women and people of color are allowed to say it as loudly and as proudly as Timothée Chalamet does. That's the world I want to live in, where each day we wake up and we do work that we are proud of. Where right before we fall asleep at night, we think to ourselves, wow, I did everything I could today because I got to wake up this morning. We revere athletes for whatever reason. I'm still not sure, but we do. We don't have a problem when LeBron James says, I am the best basketball player. If Timothée Chalamet wants to say, I'm a great actor, and I have been for a while, I have no problem with it. And I hope that he is the first of many, that we can get to a place in this world that 10, 20 years from now, if people, actors, are doing great work, they can say, I'm doing great work. And I know still, not everyone will agree, but I can never fault someone for wanting to be a little bit better today than they were yesterday. This is something I feel passionate about. I hope it came through in the video. Still, I want to know, what do you think about what Chalamet said? Starting this channel relatively recently, I hope it can be a place for dialogue, for conversations. I hope it can be a place where we talk about the world at large through a sports lens, and I hope you enjoyed and found it worth the watch. If you liked the video, hated the video, found it interesting, found it engaging, found it the worst video you've ever watched in your life, I still hope you stick around. Hope you have a great 2026. As always, to stay connected, my socials are here. See you guys.